Monster. Big scary monster.
Monster, how shall I feel? Creatures lie here, looking through the window. Monster, how shall I feel? Creatures lie here, looking through the window. Monster, how shall I feel? Creatures lie.
Hey creepers, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe down below. As you know, on the Creepy Files, we love all things creepy, and it's that time of year. So for the next 50 days, we'll be doing state-by-state ghost stories, all leading up to Halloween. Also around this time, we'd love to throw in a few subscriber stories here and there, so don't forget to send them in. Anyways, let's creep on into this video. Today we're going to discuss two different states, Arizona and Arkansas. Starting with Arizona, the first story is the Velasco house. The prominence of the house is the previous owner, Carlos Velasco, who lived there from 1878 until his death in 1914. After he died, the house was abandoned for years. The home was neglected. That is until it fell into the hands of Charles Brown, William Cobb, and Bill Dillon, who began to remodel it. Not long after renovation started, Brown reported seeing the head and shoulders of a Mexican man floating in the bedroom. He got a good look at the apparition and identified it as Carlos from a photo taken of him in 1883. There were several other occasions. If it were the ghost of Velasco, it seems he was pleased with the work going on around him because no one had seen the apparition until the renovations began. The second story comes from the University of Arizona. According to reports, a dark-haired woman wearing a shawl and a long skirt peers through a small window of the Romance Languages room at the university. The students who notice her try to talk to her and say when addressed, she turns and runs away to disappear. According to legend, the woman was the victim of a murder in the early 1900s and now has returned to collect her earthly remains. Supposedly, her remains were dumped into a well near what now is the girls' athletic field on campus. The modern language building was built in 1965. Workers allegedly found human remains as they dug the foundation, but didn't report it because they feared it'd delay the project. The third story comes from Catalina High School. The ghost is that of a school custodian named Martin. One day he suffered a heart attack and passed away while on the job. According to reports, his ghost still lingers and helps with cleaning. In June of 1980, a custodian reported seeing someone cleaning the restrooms before graduation ceremonies. He was in the hallway just past midnight when he heard the wheels of a garbage can rolling. He turned and saw the shadow of a male figure pushing the trash can, and thought nothing of it, and assumed it was another custodian until he looked into the gymnasium to see them all setting up the chairs. The fourth story comes from the Yuma Territorial Prison. The first prisoners to enter the prison were in 1876. In the coming 33 years, a total of 3,069 prisoners, including 29 women, lived in the prison. The crimes ranged from murder to polygamy, and grand larceny was the most common in the walls at the time. 111 of the prisoners died, mostly from tuberculosis, but some never left the prison, even after the death. The Yuma prison was a brutal place with inhumane punishments, but not for the time. This horrific place was considered a model institution. The prisoners had regular medical attention, access to a good hospital, and even the opportunity to learn to read and write while incarcerated. They even had the first public libraries in the territory. By 1907, the prison was severely overcrowded. The convicts constructed a new facility in Florence, and the last of them were transferred to the new building in 1909. From 1910 to 1914, the former prison buildings were occupied by the Yuma High School, and after that, empty cells provided fee lodging for hobos and drifters. The Great Depression led the prison to be used for homeless families. Today, only cells and the main gate and the tower remain. Park rangers and staff members often speak of the dark cell, which is the isolation cell. One ranger at the prison site reported an incident where she felt a presence in the cell that frightened her. She also had a picture on file taken of a tourist in the 1930s with a ghostly man behind her just in the opening of the cell. The cell is where the insane prisoners were held. A writer who wanted to do a story on the prison wanted to spend 2 days in the cell chained by foot, nothing but bread and water. The staff provided her with these items. The writer didn't last very long. A few hours later, she was calling for help, claiming someone was in the cell with her. The last Arizona story is in Jerome. The town of Jerome has many alleged spirits, some of which reside in the community center, which has been nicknamed Spook Hall because of the creepy happenings. The ghost of the community hall is actually that of a young woman who has been seen at the front of the building walking toward a hotel that used to be the site of prostitution. One of these ladies of the evening is said to haunt the inn at Jerome. During the Copper Camp's heyday, it was said more than 120 prostitutes did their trade in Jerome. Jenny Banters was said to be the richest woman in northern Arizona. The inn was her former home, and it is believed that she haunts the inn. One of the 8 rooms is called Spooks, Ghosts, and Goblins. Jenny and her phantom cat have been reported to be seen often. The cat often disappears before guests can pick her up. Jenny also moves things around the kitchen and keeps maids busy by rearranging furniture, moving objects, and rotating the ceiling fan. Now we're going to focus on Arkansas. The first story came from the Crescent Hotel. The hotel was built between 1884 and 1886, and the first lost soul may have been a workman who fell from the roof and landed in the second floor area where room 218 is now. And that room is allegedly the most haunted room in the hotel. The hotel ran through multiple owners, and rumor has it that over the years during renovations that dozens of human skeletons have been secreted within the walls. It has also been rumored somewhere within the place there are jars of preserved body parts, and they've never been found to this day. The hotel turned hospital was closed in 1940 and stayed closed until 1946, when new investors took it over and began trying to restore it. Staff members receive frequent reports from overnight guests of strange activity in their rooms and in the hallways. Room 424 has had several visitations, but the most famous haunted spot is room 218. Several guests and employees have encountered strange sounds and sensations in that room. Doors have been slammed shut, and some claim to have been shaken awake at night. One man who stayed in the room reported waking up when his shoulder was violently shook and he heard footsteps, but he saw no one in the room. It is rumored that the wife of one of the hotel's past owners stayed in the room and ran out of the room screaming in the middle of the night, claiming that she had seen blood splattered all over the walls. When the staff went to investigate the room, there was nothing out of the ordinary. Another ghost that has been reported to be seen is a man with a mustache and a beard, dressed in old-fashioned clothes. The man favors the hotel lobby and the bar. People who claim to talk to him say the man never responds. He just sits there quietly and then vanishes. The front desk often gets calls from the switchboard room, which is always locked, and when checked, the phone will be off the hook, and a presence can be felt when no one is there. In room 202, a photo was taken, and the photo contains a misty figure slouching in the closet of the room. No one but the photographer was in the room at the time. Story number 2 is from Highway 365. Highway 365 is home to a number of vanishing hitchhikers. Many people have claimed to have picked up a young woman wearing a white dress that vanishes from their cars while they are taking her home. One story took place near Woodson, Arkansas. A driver gave a young woman a ride and drove her to a house in Redfield. He got out of the car and walked to her side to let her out, to discover that she had disappeared. Confused, he went up to the door of the home where the man who answered told the driver that his daughter had been killed 4 years before on that night, and that every year on the anniversary of her death she found an unknowing driver to take her home. A similar instance, a man picked up a girl, drove her home. When they arrived at the house, she asked him to knock on the door. A woman answered and explained that her daughter died 1 year before. The driver went back to the car only to find the girl missing in a jacket, and the woman stated that the jacket belonged to her daughter. A third occasion, a driver picked up a girl in 1973. The girl was bruised and battered. She told the driver she had been in an accident, and when he turned to talk to her, she had vanished. The third story is the Gurdon Light, Clark County, Arkansas. This light is the most popular Halloween attraction in Clark County. The mysterious phenomenon has been appearing for generations. Over several decades, hundreds of witnesses have observed the light. It has been seen on local television and has been photographed by students at Henderson State University. No one truly knows what it is or the legends behind it. The lights are located near railroad tracks in a wooded area. The light is described as being blue, green, white, or orange, and bobbing around. According to folklore, the light originates from a lantern of a railroad worker who was killed when he fell into the path of the train. It is said his head and body were separated, and the head was never found, so the lantern is him searching for his head. Another variation is the lantern is carried by railway foreman William McLaren, who was killed in the vicinity during a confrontation with one of his workers in 1931. The lights are believed by some to be passing cars on the highway in the distance. Others believe it is caused by piezoelectricity from the constant stress that area underground quartz crystals are under. The fourth story is the Mina poltergeist. On December 2nd, 1961, on a farm near Mina, Arkansas, strange events were first reported, but the strange things had been happening for almost a year. He said he didn't report it because he didn't want people to think they were crazy. According to reports, furniture, kitchen utensils, books, and other objects floated in the air. Heating wood, dining room chairs, marbles, kitchen utensils were thrown about. Light bulbs were shattered in their sockets. Pillows were pulled out from the heads of the residents while they slept, and bed covers were pulled from beds by force. The coffee table in the living room was turned upside down, basically your stereotypical poltergeist. The fifth story comes from War Eagle Mill. Allegedly, a Confederate soldier has been seen walking the shores of War Eagle River near the mill. There have also been reports of poltergeist activity in the third-floor restaurant, with the noises coming from the kitchen, chairs changing position, and lids of tea dispensers flying across the room after hours. Guys, this is all we have for you today. Stay tuned and keep watching. If you want more videos like this, give this video a big thumbs up. If you made it to the end, leave a comment below. As always, thank you for watching, guys. Stay creepy.